And lastly, I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors. A little tidbit to start. Stephen Curry recently did an interview with Rolling Stone. The cover story actually was really good if you haven't read it. If you haven't read it yet, go read it. Is that English? I think so. Told a fun story about Barack Obama, chewing him out for a moon landing comment that he made, playing golf with him. Obama called him after the 2022 NBA Finals, told him to spice up his celebration with some specific words, which you can go read. I won't say here, but that was fun. But we have some original reporting from Sean Deveney of Heavy.com, some quotes directly given to Heavy on Sports, which shout out Heavy again. This will be another little plug in the middle of the episode, or towards the end, I guess, but a quote from Sean, which he got from a Western Conference executive about their potential or their future financial issues. Obviously, we'll do a quick recap here. Draymond Green has a player option for next year, which he's likely to decline to try to get a max deal. At least that's what he wants. Jordan Poole needs a contract extension now because him and Andrew Wiggins are playing on expiring contracts this year if they don't get something worked out before the start of the season with the Warriors. And Klay Thompson has this year and then next year left on his deal guaranteed. But over the course of the next two off seasons, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Jordan Poole will all need contract extensions. And if they don't get them, the Warriors, will have some decision making to do because they can't really afford to pay all of them. You saw that with Otto Porter Jr. and Gary Payton II this offseason. They weren't willing to pay those prices, so they settled for JaMychal Green and Dante DiVincenzo at slightly cheaper prices as options. So they're probably not going to give four guys close to max contracts, so they're going to have to decide which ones they want to give up. From a team building perspective, it's probably smarter to let go of Green or Klay Thompson because Poole and Wiggins are on the younger side. They could be part of the future generations of Warriors, which you're trying to plan for now, because who knows how many years Curry, Green, and Klay have left, probably 2 or 3 maybe, of really high level basketball. So giving up one of the older players and prioritizing younger guys could be smarter. But a quote from the Western Conference executive noted that Steph is really kind of in charge. Not really. The front office obviously makes the decisions, but he loves Dre and Klay. They're a package deal, and this is the quote. I'll read it for you here. Steph terrifies them in that front office. I mean, within reason. Steph wanted Avery Bradley last year, but they wanted Gary Payton II. They didn't listen to him, and there was no problem with that. I think Steph likes to have a voice, but does not get caught up in dictating moves. Klay and Draymond, though, that would be different. If they moved on from either one, they better make a good case as to why to Steph, or they can alienate him. I don't know what a pissed off Steph would be like to deal with. He never seems to come off that way, but they don't want to find out. They can move either guys. They just have to realize they've got to make the case to Steph for that. Steph, Klay, and Draymond are one of the best trios in NBA history. Steph is very, very, very close friends with both of them. If the Warriors decided to get rid of them, they would probably have to run it by Steph, and I don't think Steph would want to get rid of either one of his friends. They've won 4 championships together. They've been successful together, so if the Warriors do decide to get rid of one of those two players, they could run into a very angry Stephen Curry, which, considering he's the best player in team history, sorry, Wilt Chamberlain, they probably don't want to do. He's won them 4 titles. He's just coming off a finals MVP season. He could very well be in the MVP race next year at however old he is, 33, 32, I don't know. They don't want to anger Steph Curry. A minor decision like choosing Gary Payton over Avery Bradley and going against his wishes is fine, but like the Western Conference executive said, Klay and Draymond's a different story. If they get rid of one of them without consulting Steph, could be cause for issues. Now, the Western Conference executive also provided quotes on Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, their situations, which I wrote about for Heavy.com. You can check that out. I don't think I've released the Andrew Wiggins quote yet, but I'll read them both here, just talking about how they could potentially feel moving forward into contract years. For Andrew Wiggins, a West exec said, Wiggins is like the opposite version of Harrison Barnes. Barnes won rings early, then wanted to get a bigger role and be the star. He got to do that for some bad teams, and now it is, geez, I wish I was winning again. Wiggins is going the opposite way. He's pretty well set on staying with the Warriors if they can pay him. So from that quote, Andrew Wiggins wants to be with the Warriors. It's pretty clear he went from the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he wasn't really winning and he was getting criticized, even though he was putting up okay numbers, and it kind of deteriorated towards the end of that, and to the point where Minnesota had to attach a first to him, which turned into one of Moody or Kuminga, just to get D'Angelo Russell, which now they're having their own issues with. So Wiggins probably wants to keep winning, and he's happy in Golden State, so he probably wants to stay. On the other hand, the West exec said Poole, though, could have some Barnes in him. He got to show what he can do a bit when everyone was hurt and the team was bad, but then he got pushed back within the team once Klay was healthy and everyone was talking about Wiggins. It depends on how they handle his contract, but if he gets the sense that they don't want him, yeah, he is the one I could see imagining to look elsewhere, just like Barnes Barnes did, excuse me. Of course, they replaced Barnes with Durant, so maybe they'll do the same with Poole. That was talking to Sean. He said that was a little tongue-in-cheek comment, saying, maybe the Warriors could do a sign and trade with the Nets and get Durant next summer if things don't work out in Brooklyn. But realistically speaking, if Poole leaves, they could just look to replace him. But yeah, it sounds like from those quotes and from what everyone is saying that if one of Wiggins or Poole was to leave on their own accord, it would be Poole. Now, the Warriors could very well turn around and say, no, we'd rather keep Poole than Wiggins. They prioritize him, they bring him in, they pay him a lot of money, and Wiggins is on his way. But who knows? You've heard things from, I believe it was Connor Letourneau of the San Francisco Chronicle saying, scorer first guards are easy to find in the NBA, but 3-and-D wings aren't as much at the levels Wiggins is, at least. So Poole could be the odd man out, and then Brady Klopfer of Golden State of Mind saying, I'd let Wiggins walk every day of the week. Poole is just a dynamic talent like that. So there's tough decisions, I should say, to make. And what I was trying to say is easy cases to make for both player. And I still think, from an outsider's perspective, who's not a fan of the team, from a completely unbiased perspective, they should give up Klay or Draymond, and keep both Poole and Wiggins. But like the West executive said, Steph terrifies them, and he probably wouldn't go for that. Draymond wanting a max contract, whether or not he's worth it at this point, that's the case to get rid of him. And for Klay, I would personally, try to get Klay to take a pay cut. He didn't take one last time, and Draymond did, and the Warriors handed him an extension after he tore his ACL the first time. Then the Achilles thing, he was still making a ton of money. And so at this point, he's made a ton of money while not even playing for the team for 2 years. So he could be more inclined. He's not going to take like a minimum deal or something, but taking like, I don't know, $25 million instead of the 40 he could make could be possible. But if he's not willing to do that, maybe it's time to cut ties with Klay and prioritize Poole and Wiggins. Because I think I've said it on the show before. You take Wiggins' defense, you take Poole's offense, that kind of makes Klay Thompson. Plus they're younger and can grow into larger roles too. So that's my opinion. Steph probably wouldn't allow that, and then at that point you heard the quotes that are said about Poole and Wiggins, so it'll be tough decisions to make for the Warriors, but some nice insight coming from a West executive who talked to Sean Deveney of Heavy.com, some original reporting there, but yeah, there's that on the Warriors.